Hello everybody, it's me Nate aka Devil Dog here with my buddy Sev, and this first of all I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this Uber review of the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Remastered Edition. I put a lot of effort and time into all three of these games before making this review, and don't worry, there'll be a rant video coming out in a little while as well on it. But now with Grand Theft Auto, they've made so many different games in the series up to Grand Theft Auto 5 with the Nintendo Switch version, the handheld versions, and now even the next gen, or the current gen ones with PS5 and Xbox Series X. The only one that they've never done has been a PlayStation VR version. I wonder what that would be like. Okay, it's a copy of Grand Theft Auto VR. I didn't even know they made a Grand Theft Auto VR. Well, as you see here, Grand Theft Auto VR for the PlayStation 4. So, I'm going to go and put this in, get it loaded up, and get my headset, and I'm going to try this out. Let's see what this game's like.
Alright, it took hardly any time to install. I think it's because I actually have a previous save file of Grand Theft Auto. And so I moved everything out of the way because I didn't want to fucking bump into anything like I did last time. So let's go ahead and put this on and see what Grand Theft Auto in VR is like. Holy shit! Oh, wow. This is badass! Wow. Well, if anyone ever thought about it, Grand Theft Auto in VR in first-person mode is actually pretty well done. I don't really know what you're supposed to do in this game. I really don't know.
Ow, my back! What the fuck? Oh, cool, I got a gun now. Oh, shit! Ow! Oh! Why did somebody tell me that it friggin' hurts when you come in here? My God. Alright, that's what I'm talking about. What the fuck? You motherfucker. God, that hurts so fucking bad. Oh, Jesus. I don't want to be in here anymore. I want to get out of here. Oh, my mouth. Oh, my mouth. Oh, God damn, that fucking hurts really bad. Oh, thank God, finally I spawned somewhere I'm not going to get hurt on the top of Mount Chiliad. What the fuck? I've had enough. Someone help me. Someone help me. Get me out of here. Let me out of here. Let me out of here. Let me out of here. Help. Help. Is anybody out there? Help me. Help me. everybody, it's me, Nate, aka Double Dog, and I'm back for my epic review of the Grand Theft Auto Remastered Trilogy Definitive Edition. We're going to do this in 3 parts, but first of all, this was released digitally only on November 11th of 2021, and if you want a physical release of these games, they will come out eventually on December 7th. Now, all 3 of these games have a performance mode or a graphic mode. You can go into the options and change it to either have a higher frame rate or a higher resolution. I went with the higher frame rate because it just makes the games play a little bit better. And all 3 of these games have adopted the control layout from Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, if you remember playing the old original versions, you used to use the circle button to shoot. And the camera control was really, really wonky. So that is a big, drastic improvement in these games. Now, first up, let's tackle the first one, Grand Theft Auto 3. Now, this one seems to be visually the best improvement out of the lot, mainly because Grand Theft Auto 3 was the first for its time that went to 3D, and visually it didn't really look that good. I have to say the reworked texture works, the rain effects, the lighting effects, and everything really does bring this up to a much better version of the game. I do think that it does still have some issues with it. All 3 of these titles have issues with it. In fact, like I said earlier on, there's going to be a rant video about this. Don't worry, people, but this is going to be a bare bones, straight fire from the hip review, a non-biased one. Now, Grand Theft Auto 3 plays really well, especially in performance mode. I think it actually looks the best out of the 3 in terms of the upgrades to the textures and the resolution. The fact that all the characters actually have their fingers and their faces are a lot more animated. You can tell that this one seems to be the best in the terms of the remasters of these 3, this collection. Honestly, all the music is retained in this, since they didn't use any licensed music in the original version anyhow, so they didn't have to do anything. So it's basically the same game that you know and love, with well, it does still have some graphical glitches, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But hands down, it plays a lot better, a lot smoother. The control is still good. It still has janky animations, because you got to remember, people, this is not a remake. This is a remaster. So it is fundamentally some new coats of paint and some upgraded to some of the different mechanics to it, but the level design and layouts are all the same if you remember them. It does actually use, you can still use cheat codes, but I'm going to talk a little bit, addressing something about the cheat codes a little bit later on. But hands down, this was the best one out of the 3, I think, in terms of what the remaster has done. It does play a lot better. Now, it's hard to dislike this game, okay? It's a classic. It's what led to the really good games that we have now. And honestly, like I keep saying, I personally like this one the best out of the remasters. Now, is it the best game out of the 3? Of course not. It's part 3, which was limited in scale and scope and size. No, they did not have it where Claude talks, and no, they can't swim. They didn't add anything really new to these titles. But honestly, you're getting it really what you want. You figure about, $20 a game. It's not bad. But now let's get on to the next game, Vice City. Now, the one thing about all 3 of these games is you can go and do something where you can actually lay down waypoints on the map to help you go to different locations. I personally never had a problem with it because you just drive to the icon on the map. It does have some nice options throughout all 3 of these games where you can zoom in on certain things like dialogue. You can have the map zoom in a little bit better. And honestly, out of all 3 of these games, I think Vice City seems to run the smoothest. It seems to run a lot better than the other, the Part 3 and San Andreas for some reason. And it looks really good. I mean, honestly, the cartoon aesthetic, which I will discuss in my rant, that a lot of people don't like about these games, works the best in Vice City. It really does. The character models do show improvement.
honestly, the one thing, though, a lot of people were worried about was, what about the soundtracks? Because at this point, these games had epic, huge soundtracks. And I'm sad to say there are 13 missing songs from this version of Vice City due to basically pretty much licensing and stuff like that. There are a lot of songs that are missing. 13, in fact, and yes, the Michael Jackson songs are gone. I mean, other than that, the game itself does play the best as you go around with Tommy Vercetti doing all your missions and everything like that. And of course, you know, this one is my personal favorite out of the three. You know, a much larger game world, but like I keep saying, they did not really add anything new to these games. They just enhanced the visual fidelity, gave you a little bit better performance since they're using an Unreal Engine to power these instead of the game engines that they used when they created them. And they did update some of the control features, like I said, the gunplay, being able to bring up your weapons wheel to select your weapons from Grand Theft Auto 5. But other than that, they're still the same games. Now, on to the third and final game of this collection, San Andreas. Hands down, I think this one is kind of the worst. The textures don't really seem to be as vibrant and good as the ones that were in GTA 3 and Vice City for some reason. I've had several instances with slowdown on San Andreas for some reason as well, even running it in performance mode. And this one is the worst at missing songs. This has 17 missing songs to it. Yeah, and a lot of them were some of the better songs, I have to say, which is quite disappointing. And, I don't really think that there's reason why the songs couldn't have been, renegotiated to have them back on here. But like I said, I'm saving that for my rant about this game. Now, with the game engine being on Unreal, it does allow them to have a lot better draw distance, a lot better lighting. Like I said, waypoints. I have noticed some draw in, some pop in, and it also comes with the main thing is the restart mission feature. If you happen to die on any mission, it'll immediately ask you if you want to restart the mission. Well, that's great, but here's the little kicker. The only thing it does is make it to where you don't have to travel back to the start of the mission to start it. Okay, so let's just say most of these missions are multi-part missions, all right? And if you die halfway through, you have to start the whole multi-part series of missions over again. It's not like the restart mission actually starts you at that section in the mission. No, it just drops you off at the main starting point to where you talk to and have your main cinematic to actually get the mission started. So just keep that in mind. So let's just say this. I'm going to say it, especially the dang motorcycle train thing from San Andreas. It's still a pain in the ass. And that's another thing about this. Even though it controls better and the gunplay is a lot better, the lock-on is significantly better, it does still have a lot of flaws in these games. They are tried and true the original versions of the title. I mean, each one does have its little, nuances, but there are a couple other things that I really have to point out, and I'm really going to dive deep in my rant about. I have noticed a lot of really messed up things in this game. Now, Vice City seems to have a lot of texture glitches every so often. Grand Theft Auto 3 so far seems to be okay. I haven't really noticed too much in that. And like I said, San Andreas seems to have a lot lower resolution on everything, even though there are certain assets that were dropped in straight from Grand Theft Auto 5 into these games, including like refrigerators, trash cans, certain things like that. Not too many people would notice, but they are straight from GTA 5 that they put in here, which was nice, but it's just kind of odd. And the other issue is the elephant in the room is the art style. They did go for a more cartoony art style, and that's another thing I'm going to rant about in my next video. It seems to work rather well for Vice City and GTA 3. San Andreas, it really kind of doesn't, and I'll dive deep into that. And the other thing in San Andreas is the character models. There are glitches with the character models to where, for whatever reason, a lot of the character models have been changed. Like Phil Cassidy is a good example, which I'll, once again, when I get into my rant, you'll know what I mean. But there's certain characters like the barbershop guy that used to look like Morgan Freeman that no longer looks like Morgan Freeman. It's just certain facial features and body proportions that are just wrong. Like, I mean, like, look at this right here. Look at this right here. That does not look correct at all. He looks deformed, and I'm not sure what really happened here. I think all they did is when they rebuilt these character models and they added polygons to them, they didn't really take into account that all the animations and everything are the original animations. And when you build and add stuff on top of an original animation, it kind of makes them wonky. Like some of the animations look wonky in this. I mean, they really do. But, that's just minor nitpicky things because the games play really, really good. They're just like you remember them, even though there are weird changes like spelling glitches, like misspelled things and minor glitches. I haven't really had any game destroying bugs or like the Cherry Popper mission. That's a good example. If we all know, the original version of Vice City had a mission called the Cherry Popper, and if you did it, sometimes it would corrupt your save data and you would have to start completely over in the game. Fortunately, I haven't had anything like that happen while playing through all three of these games. Honestly, if you'd like to see a little fun playthrough on it, just leave in the comments below. I might work it out. I can't go through the whole games because they're so long. But in the end, stay tuned to my epic rant video on these three games because honestly, there's a lot to rant about. But in this review, I have to say, for $60, and considering you're getting well over, I think it's close to 160 hours total of gameplay, it is well worth the money for $60, especially for the nostalgia to go back and play these games. Even though, if you're like me, you're going to point out a lot of differences to where the games, the worlds are all the same, the missions are all the same. It's just like I said, this is a remaster and not a remake. And honestly, Rockstar didn't even do this. They outsourced it to some company called Grove Street to actually make these. And the other thing is, like I said earlier, about the cheats. Everybody was asking, what about the music and what about the cheats? Do the cheats still work? Well, much like the music, the cheats kind of have some differences as well. There are certain cheats that are no longer in this game, and they claim that it is due to the fact they switched to Unreal Engine that it doesn't work right. Now, a lot of the games still have a lot of cheats that you can do, the flying cars and stuff like that, but there are some that have been removed, which, once again, is a disappointment. I mean, I don't know why, if this is just going to be a remaster, why it can't retain all the original cheats. I understand that it's claiming it has something to do with messing up the game engine that the games are running on, but I kind of call BS on that. But in the end, can I recommend that you actually get these games? Yes, actually, I can recommend it. You just have to get past the shortcomings of the different changes that they did due to this. You have to get past the fact that there's 30 missing songs from these games, the weird cartoon look of them, and the fact that there's been some minor changes to the cheats. Other than that, if you really want these games, go ahead and pick them up now. They'll cost you $60 for all three of them digitally. And on December 7th, if you really want to, you can pick them up physically. Right now, I think if you're on Xbox Game Pass, you can play Grand Theft Auto 3 right now. And, pretty much that's really what I got to say about this. Fortunately, I can say I'm happy that they made these remasters. I just kind of wish that maybe, just maybe, they would have went more the route of Grand Theft Auto 5's in terms of its graphical fidelity. But at the same time, they're still great games. And if you can just get past the weird changes that are in these three titles, you'll have one hell of a good time playing them. But I got to ask anybody, does anyone know how to end the game without, shutting the whole game down and rebooting it? I can't find any way to just stop and exit the game. I know it's weird. But in the end, leave in the comments below what you personally think about the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Remastered Ultimate Edition. Make sure to give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And remember, I always end my videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember, people, the devil is in the details. Peace out until next time.